Hello! So this evening we are going to take a look at Will Rogers in Oklahoma in the US. This airfield is distributed by Inibuilds. So we're going to go and have a look around it. And we'll have a fly around it with the drone camera first just to have a look. So we'll come down a bit lower altitude, look at some of the buildings around the outside of the airfield and some of the features. And then we'll go and get an airplane ready and take it out of the airfield. So you can see there are some static airplanes around. And then there's lots of service hangars of the various parts of the airfield here. So we've got Sky West over here. And it would appear that they're running CRJs. Whether that's accurate, I have no idea. So over here you've got a military logistics operation going on with some KC-135s parked up. And again, the hangars are really nicely built. They certainly look the part, and the car parks are very good as well. I know it sounds like a strange thing to say, to be looking at the car parks. So dotted around the field, you find working oil pumps. So if we come in and just slow the camera down a little bit. But yeah, they're very nicely modelled. And there's a few of them around the field actually, so let's go and carry on flying around the perimeter. There's another one down there, look. So as I said, there's lots and lots of features that have been modelled in terms of the infrastructure around the airfield. So as we come along this side, you get some of the parking areas, of which there are many. There's odd bits around here that obviously people that know the area would be able to point them out in quite some detail. So if we come in and fly along the road, I'm just trying to slow the camera down. So I'm still trying to slow the camera down. That's better. So if you know this world, then this signage will be familiar to you if you've been into and out of this airfield. So you've got the road signage as well that's been done, which is quite cool. So another oil pump there. So let's go further down into the airfield. Well, before we go into the main part of the airfield, let's go carry on around. So there's various service hangars down here. There's an Alaska Airlines plane down here in the service hangar. Some of these buildings, like this communications tower here, are really, really amazingly done. I've been really surprised with how well they've done it. It's very cool, isn't it? Okay, so we'll continue flying off around the edge of the airfield. And eventually we'll come back down to the main terminal building over there. So we're just having a little look around. So half the reason for doing this is if we look further over, there's a whole nother chunk of airfield over here on the far side. So you can see a firefighting test aircraft, or I'm guessing that's what it is over here with the wings missing. A huge logistics operation here. Again, there's various other bits of building that aren't modelled that you can see in the texture maps on the ground, but many of the buildings are actually modelled in quite some detail, and I've been really surprised by it, to be honest. The level they've taken this to is very, very good. Okay, so let's go and fly over to the main terminal and the main way into the airport, I guess. So we'll follow the roadway in. So if we fly back over, this is where I wanted to come in from. Okay, so I'm just going to slow the drone camera down further. It's always a problem, isn't it, with the flight sim, trying to get the drone camera to go slowly enough, and there's no way of knowing what speed you've got it set to until you actually try to move it. So yeah, we'll try that. That looks good enough. Okay, so we're going to follow the road into the terminal. It's quite a windy day here at Will Rogers. So we obviously get the advantage that we can fly and we can take ourselves wherever we need to go. So you can see all of the gantries down here are really nicely modelled. So we go and have a look down here. There's Will Rogers, I'm guessing. And you're starting to see people dotted around in the scenery. So we'll go in at the lower level through the terminal and go and have a look, shall we? So let's start at one end and work our way along. So we'll come out over this side. And scoot in. Okay, so you can see the scenery does fall down a little bit here and there, but it's pretty good. So the underneath hasn't really been modelled with anything. I doubt there's actually anything in here then. In the real world, there might be. Then we can... We're going to turn the speed down even further. I'm trying to really just do this slowly, and I'm having a bit of a nightmare with it. There we go. So you'll see the reason for me being so careful with this in a moment, because we're going to fly along the way into the airfield, or the way into the terminal, sorry. But they really have gone to town with this one. It's something else, it really is. So you've got all the check-in desks along here. And then security scanners. And obviously once you get through security, you get into the main part of the terminal. So we'll go for a fly around the terminal together. This is just craziness, isn't it? Absolute craziness. So we're going to carry on along the terminal. So you can see there's cafes and bars and seating areas with hundreds and hundreds of people in them. It's been done really, really nicely. Obviously you can see outside the windows. I've made myself the only airplane out here at the moment, obviously because I wanted the frame rate to stay nice. So we've got a nice smooth look around, otherwise we'd have, like, if we were running FSLTL for example, there would be numerous airplanes out here. So we can carry on down. And there's more of the same. It's just enormously detailed throughout, and the models of the people are really good ones as well. So yeah, it's quite spooky actually just how good they are. And there's a huge variety of the people as well. It's probably one of the best I've seen. Yeah, it's just incredible, really. And I know this, you know, makes no difference to the actual runway layouts or anything to do with actually flying. But in terms of just the amount of effort that must have gone into this, it's a huge achievement. It really is. Okay, so coming out you can see the jet bridges are all custom as well. They're really nicely done. The painting on the floor is really good throughout the whole airport. So if we spin the camera around, we should find there's our 737 that we're sat on the ground with. So we're going to get the plane ready to go, taxi out to runway, I think it's 28 we're leaving on. Or was it 17, sorry. And we'll see how we get on. But yeah, it's just, I can't believe the level they've taken this to. It's very, very impressive. Obviously you can see the whole insides that we just flew through. Just over here, and you can see through the glass and see it all happening. So when you're in the aeroplanes, you can see all that happening. It's very, very cool. Okay, so here's our 737. I've taken it as far as getting the APU up and running and getting off of the ground power is actually still attached. So we'll go and do the final few bits and pieces of getting the aeroplane ready to go. Okay, so inside the aeroplane. What do we need to do? Start the engines would be a good idea, wouldn't it? So, before we start the engines on 737, we need to go to the FS Actions menu, Ground Services, and remove the wheel chocks. We're running on the APU already, which is all fine. So then come overhead, and we'll go and put the engines. Actually, we could do this from here. We'll do the pushback. So let's just check outside, make sure everything's disconnected. Yes, it is. So Shift P will make the truck attach, hopefully. Well, that's the plan. We appear to have the Xbox controller was drifting there and affecting the controller. So let's just have a quick look on Navigraph at the ground layout of Oklahoma. So we're not going to do the full flight today. We're pretending we're going to depart to go to San Francisco. So we're going to depart on 17 left, I think it is. It's on here, isn't it? There we go, 17 left, yeah. So we're over here, so we'll be taxiing around along Echo to get to it. Okay, so I think, yeah, the parking brake is off already, which is always good. So we can sit back down. Engine to GRD. I'm just going to wait for this to push back a bit further before we actually get things started up. Ignition to right. So I'm just going to stop that from pushing there and put the parking brake on. So we have to put the tow brakes on and then do that, and we should see the truck pull away from us. Fingers crossed. Is he going to pull away? Yes, he is. Okay, so I need to remember how to do this now. So I'll go and put the taxi light on. We've done the GRD mode, ignition to the right side. Did it actually start spinning the engine up? It didn't, did it? What's going on here? Well, oh, sorry, I haven't done the packs. Let's turn that back off again. You can tell I'm rusty with this aeroplane, can't you? Let's turn that back off for the moment. So Control 6. So, sorry, not the packs, the APU bleed. So APU bleed to on. We also go and we can do the hydraulic pumps now, but we obviously won't get enough pressure until the engines are up and running, but that's fine. So then come back down, ignition to the right side, GRD, then there we go. So engine is coming up, got N2 increasing. So wait till it gets to 20%, then we advance the starter lever forwards to introduce fuel and to ignite. waiting for the engine to spool up. The switch will go back to off all on its own, and that will be a good signal for us to go and do the other engine. It's ages since I've been in the 737. It really is. We'll alternate the ignition system just to save on wear and tear. So we can see N2 coming up on engine number 1 now. So I should have said 25% on the engine number 2. I went a bit early with the starter switch. So that's firing up. So we've already done the hydraulics. We'll just have a little check around. We've done the window heats and the probe heats. We've got the yaw damper we can switch on now. The INS system's already aligned. The fuel pumps are all on. Now the engines are running. We've got both engines running now, so we can cross-feed over to them. Oh, sorry, bus transfer over to them, I should say. And then we can go and turn the APU bleed off, turn the APU off, and turn the packs to auto. Okay. So we can go and set the flaps for takeoff. I think I said 10 degrees on the performance, so we'll just go and get 10 degrees there on the flap lever. And hold the toe brakes in, lets me release the parking brake, and we're rolling. So immediate right turn. And head tracking on, so we can actually have a look around while we're taxiing. So we'll go out to the taxi markings. Set the speed there to a sensible speed for the auto throttle. Just meddling with the controls here. I've got a small amount of thrust because I've got my throttles configured incorrectly. That's better. Okay. We're looking good. Yeah, so obviously on a normal day here at Will Rogers you'd have aeroplanes everywhere. So I've removed them so you get a clear look at the airport and to keep the frame rate nice and fast. So it's nice and smooth for us. So I've already got the route to San Francisco programmed into the airplane, but as I said, we're not going to be doing that route. So we're just coming out onto Echo. Or at least that's the plan. There we go, there's the sign for Echo. So we're going to go left. Force of habit. Look, I'm looking for traffic, and of course there isn't any traffic here. So obviously on a normal controlled flight we'll have ATC. I've been playing with Beyond ATC recently, by the way. I will be doing a video on it when I get a chance to do that. So we should have some fun with that at some point. See the KC-135s parked over there. That's all the baggage. Look at the wind. I think it's about a 20 knot gusting to 30 knot wind down the runway towards us when we turn around. So let's go and make sure the EFIS is all configured correctly. So we want about 10-mile range. And go and configure the barometric pressure. So we'll go do that. It's all good. Flight directors are on. Preset to lateral navigation. Okay, let's turn out to the runway. So we'll just hang on here for a moment. So we want the strobes on now, and we want the landing lights, whoops, missed with switch, on. That's the turn lights and the main landing lights. Let's go and have a look at them outside. As you can see, we're lit up now like a Christmas tree. And we're flashing spectacularly. And you can see on the navigation display down there, the runway is coming towards us. So full thrust. We can go for auto throttle now, to be honest.
80 knots.
Keep the airplane in the centre, hey.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Okay, come up. Autopilot on. And we can have a look outside. Go for speed mode. And say goodbye to Will Rogers behind us. So that's Will Rogers from Inibuilds. It's quite reasonably priced, and as you saw, the detail around the airport is absolutely amazing. So if you know this part of the world well and you are looking for a good version of Will Rogers, yeah, you can't go much further wrong. I'll put a link to it, Inibuilds, in the notes of the video. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to dredge this out for the 3-hour trip over to San Francisco. So I'll see you again soon. Take care.